Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling Review Series, and we are in the year of 1988, one of my favorite years for this particular program, Superstars, and the 18th of June, 1988, and we are in the summer preparing for SummerSlam, but not there yet. We opened with the British Bulldogs, former tag team champions here. Of course, the Bulldogs are leaving right after SummerSlam, so they're here for another month and a half or so, give or take. But Davey Boy and Dynamite are still here. Of course, Dynamite and Davey Boy, I believe, go back to Calgary and work Japan for a while. The Bulldogs obviously never the same after Dynamite's back injury in late '86. But they do return for another year. Big hip tosses and power slams. Of course, they are working with the Rougeos a little bit, although not favorably, as there is a falling out between the two of them right before. Actually, I think they leave at Survivor Series. Anyway, throw off the top rope and a tag off by the Bulldogs, and certainly, former tag team champions who never really found their deal after that time period. A big power slam followed by a diving headbutt by a Dynamite Kid, and a victory for the Bulldogs is what's happened here. We go back to highlights of a Texas death match from Saturday night's main event, Hogan and Harley Race. I will be eventually covering all the Saturday night's main event, so I really won't cover this here except for Harley goes and manages to drop a headbutt on a table in 1988, managing to cause internal hemorrhaging and stomach and intestinal damage to himself. He needs a colostomy bag for a while after this, has to have surgery. Bobby Heenan holding the crown, saying that the king is injured. He has to find a new king, which eventually turns out to be King Haku, which was cool for the storyline at the time. Sad for Harley that his career never was the same after that particular time frame. But anyway, Big Boss Man out here, and he's challenging just about everybody. Looking mean, lean, and somewhat young in the face during this time period. Punches, kicks to the side of the head, and a sidewalk slam by the Boss Man. Of course, Boss Man brought in by the Slickster. Also, Boss Man with a really good spine buster. Thank you, Dusty Rhodes, for finding this young man and eventually bringing him in to wrestling in a more consistent way. To think that he was found as an enhancement talent during the Dusty Rhodes NWA / Crockett era is just bizarre to me, that he would be found in that area or that era. And I mean, I think that was in '87. He's here by mid '88, and wow. Anyway, we go to a event center promo series. We are promoting live events. DiBiase and Savage is a pretty big deal. Savage thinks that DiBiase thinks that he should be able to purchase the World Wrestling Federation Championship with his money. Nothing can stop him. He is plugging the history of having wrestled Randy Savage around the area. We have a return match with Beefcake and the Hammer Greg Valentine here. Jimmy Hart, of course, managing Valentine after the breakup of the Dream Team in late '87. That switch. Bret Hart is here, and obviously they're continuing throughout this program to do a Halo style graphic as if King Harley Race has passed away. Jerry Allen is the opponent for Bret Hart. This is during a time when they are trying to move Bret Hart away from Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart actually comes down to ringside. Bret, not happy with this, tells him to go away. So this is kind of their transition into baby faces, Hart and Neidhart. Anyway, leg drops, headbutts, and some kicks. Bret Hart manages here to, uh, use headbutts and the like. Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart, baby faces, they have been done wrong. I believe by this point, the contract negotiations with the Rougeau brothers have happened. A really interesting stuck pile driver, just awkward looking, gets Bret the victory. Jimmy Hart, again, not happy, and Neidhart runs him off as well, so that's there. Jake Roberts and Rick Rude is being hyped for an upcoming house show. Basically, Roberts says you don't mess with a man's family. Then we move into another enhancement match. Tom Stone, perennial enhancement guy in the area. Bam Bam Bigelow, who I did not realize was here into the summer of '88. Thought he left right after WrestleMania 4, but he guess did a few TVs after this. Big body slam by Bigelow. Bigelow is such at this point, a young, imposing individual, only been around wrestling for a few years. Top rope headbutt by him, and he is managed at this point by Sir Oliver Humperdinck there. And Rick Rude does some posing, talks about wanting to get his hands on Jake Roberts in an interview, and Bobby Heenan, tries to call out individuals who, they do the rude awakening bit on the area, and obviously kisses a lady. Rick Rude was so good at this time. I honestly wonder, had Rude not been so snug, what a Rude versus Hogan program would have amounted to during this time frame. Because I think the rumor is that Hogan never wanted to work with Rude. Did one match with him, but he found him to be too snug, too stiff. Anyway, Greg Valentine and Ricky Itaki up next. Valentine with a back suplex, some hammer drops, and really basic stuff, body slams and the like. And of course, Valentine wins in virtually no time uh, with a figure four leg lock. Holding on to the hold a little too long, Don the Rock Morocco makes his way out. Don Morocco is a babyface at this point, and he puts out a enhancement guy. I think Chief J Strongbow might be who he puts out in the this particular need to put a office worker on a stretcher, but that is supposed to get people riled up for Valentine. Anyway, that doesn't work nearly as well as the feuds for him about a year later. Anyway, we go to a enhancement talent match next. Rockers in one of their first matches, sunglasses included, at least for Shawn Michaels. And I think this might be one of their first matches. I think maybe they've been in a month by this point, by mid June of '88, but I don't think it's been that long. Anyway, Mike Sharp is one of the enhancement talents there. Obviously, Rockers given the benefit of being tag team specialist, doing a lot of arm drags, takeovers, and the like, working together, double super kicks, backdrops over the shoulder, and double fist drops get a victory for the Rockers. Again, we see enhancement or Event Center promos for Rick Rude, still wanting his hands on predominantly Jake Roberts here in 1988, and let's just run down the card they're talking about for people's interest, because there's at least a little bit of that included in this episode. And ultimately, Boston Garden, July 9th, Rockers and Sam Houston in a six-man Bolsheviks. And the British Bulldogs will be here, Don Morocco and Greg Valentine. Jake Roberts and Ravishing Rick Rude. This is a return match from the previous month. And Savage and DiBiase, also a return match from the previous month. In the 9th of July, as you see, the monthly shows at the Boston Garden a really big deal at this time and place. So we will close there. But anyway, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. We'll hopefully have a few more of these up this evening into tomorrow. And like I said, start the Mid South series pretty soon. But keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.